Welcome to the panel, where two bootstrappers talk about building a better business and a better life. I'm Justin Jackson, co-founder of Transistor.fm.
And I'm Brian Castle. I am the creator of Builder Methods.
All right, and
back at it.
We are just looking at the chat here. It's 2026, everybody. Happy New Year. There's just excitement is in the air. There's excitement here on our live chat. We got Ryan and Emmett. Everyone's saying hello to each other. And Pascal is like, how's it going? All aspirationals. This is the time of the year, man.
It's the new year energy. It's January. I have noticed that I think both of us I see some activity coming from your end, building some stuff, vibe coding, launching new products. So we are sitting here recording. It's been at least 2 or 3 weeks since our last recording, and we went over the holidays and everything.
Yeah.
We'll get into today probably some updates. I think we'll try to get into some 2026 predictions, maybe. We'll see.
Yep.
But I think it's interesting. I'm curious to know for you if whatever you were thinking about back in December as you ended the year and looking ahead into next year, maybe making goals or priorities and things like it's like we do that and then we chill with the family and do the holidays and then we come back to work.
Yeah.
Has anything changed in terms of actually it's the new plan? Like for me, some plans have changed already.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that turning my brain off and stepping back from work does is it creates space to start having ideas and thoughts. Actually, I wrote one note in my Apple Notes. I was looking at it, and it just said, "Oh no, I've got the disease again." And the disease is waking up at 2 a.m. and then having this thought of oh shoot, I got to write that idea down in my Apple Notes. So I read it down, and then I put the phone back beside my bed. And then oh no, I got another idea. And then I write that down and put the phone back beside my bed.
Disease. I mean, that just sounds like my life.
I mean, the disease is a blessing and a curse because they're when I was in that phase of writing the initial version of Marketing for Developers, running all those mega maker experiments, doing the build and launch podcast, I was just afflicted by insomnia. I could not sleep because my brain, as soon as I had a quiet moment, my brain would just erupt with ideas.
Yep.
And frankly, the blessing of Transistor has been, I just don't get that as much anymore. It's and like I said, it's a blessing and a curse, but
no, I mean, I totally feel you. And I know that you have settled into the steady state of a successful, profitable running SaaS business for multiple years. I could totally see how you have had arrived at I don't have to have the urgency anymore, right?
Yes.
And as everyone knows, listening to me rant on these podcasts, I haven't lost that urgency, and it's something that I continuously try to strive for is get to a state in my business where I don't feel that, because I too am constantly jotting down notes and ideas and new product ideas, new whatever, marketing initiatives or strategies. And these days, it's all within Builder Methods. But even within Builder Methods, there's 1,000 things that I want to do that I feel like I don't have enough days or hours in the day to do.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I think the danger is as rough as it is, not being able to sleep and just getting, it's an adrenaline rush. That's the only way I can describe it is middle of the night, you start having ideas and the ideas are flowing out of you in a way if I could capture that mode just during my waking hours, sometimes it happens, but it's just you just need to maybe I need to meditate more, or I don't know, it's just your brain is quiet and then it has space to start thinking about stuff. And it's so activating. It just feels like you're having good idea after good idea, that it's sparking in a way that it doesn't really any other time for me. And so being able to recapture some of that over the holidays was like interesting. And most of those notes I was writing down were related to how would I rewrite marketing for developers? So that seed was like planted in my head. And then it was like, how would I do that? Like so that for me, I think is what changed is when we did our last call, I was like, yeah, I'll think about this.
I think you left it like, I might do marketing for developers at some point in 2026. We'll see. And now it seems like you're full speed ahead.
I'm like 80%, but I think I'm committed.
Oh, you're more than that, dude. You're vibe coding a whole membership site behind it.
I have such a funny story about that too.
Right, so like today we're gonna talk about marketing for developers and your re-release of the book, which is definitely absolutely happening. You're going to be shipping it. I also decided recently that I'm going to be doing a Claude Code course, and I just launched the landing page for that. So I'll get into that and talk about a little bit what's on the urgent list for me over there. But all right, I want to hear what I'm seeing from you with marketing for developers is that energy that you're talking about, like and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, like this is aside from Transistor, this is like it's been a while since you launched like a new product outside of Transistor, right?
No, I think I've launched something every year. Like I did Swag Fan last, was that 2024 that I did Swag Fan?
Okay. But I thought that was like the other guy's project.
I mean, it was a project with that student that I hired, but I was working on it with him, launched it with him. So I think I've done something almost every year, but yes, that every year kind of has a side project. And this one, I think, we'll see. It has the potential to, it's an interesting one for me.
Let me ask you a couple of questions about it.
Yeah.
So, aside from like the content, we could talk about the content in a minute, but I'm just curious, like as a product,
yes,
what is changing? Like, is the price the same as you used to sell it for? Is something going to change there? I know there's like a membership component. What's your sort of vision structurally for this thing? Okay,
so there's this rewrite. This project has multiple jobs to be done for me. Mm-hmm. Number one is. I think I wrote these goals down. Okay, so number one is I wanted to rewrite this book it's been 10 years, and I've been wanting to rewrite it for a while. And now with so many people building with AI, it just felt like there's this new wave and this new perspective that I think we could bring to it now. There was other things, like I was like, man, I've learned so much in marketing and growing Transistor that I'd like to share. But it never felt like enough to, kind of push me to rewrite the book. So that was one part. The second thing is that my company, Transistor, serves creators. And I started out in 2008 blogging, 2012 podcasting, and those two things, plus my email newsletter, really have created every opportunity I've had ever since. And they've been a huge part of my life. And I wanted, in the same way, I think this podcast with you last year helped me get back into what's it like to make a podcast every week. Mm-hmm. I wanted another project where it's like I remember being at that early stage and going, man, it'd be so amazing if I could like build an audience and then sell them something. Mm-hmm. And how would that ever happen? And just all of that experience, I want to inhabit that again so that I can better serve our Transistor customers. And our Transistor customers are wrestling with the same stuff. They're wrestling with...
I didn't know you were thinking about the connection to the Transistor customers.
Yeah, because they're wrestling with memberships. Like we're doing a big integration with Ghost right now that's all around memberships. They're, private podcasts, public podcasts, ads, using your podcast and your blog together and having the ability to sell products. So I wanted to inhabit that again and really kind of feel it again.
Yeah. And I clearly, and like the purpose of that is to be able to really speak to them. Like,
yes, speak to them.
How do you get back to the place where you are sort of like where you are the potential customer?
Yes.
For this, both for Transistor and for marketing for developers.
And as soon as you get in the process again, so now I'm back in it. I'm like, okay, got to build a website. Okay, got to build. How is this going to get monetized? It's going to be membership plus the book. What's the pricing? How's the podcast going to relate to this? Well, we should have a public show and a private show. I think I talked a little bit about this our last episode. So I'm just thinking through everything again, and it's as real for me now as it was, 10, 15 years ago, except the one difference is I don't have as much financial pressure as I had back then, which is just significant. But
in terms of a topic for a book, it does seem like such a good year to do a relaunch of marketing for developers, and also just the angle that you wrote it 10 years ago, and this is the 2026 version, and like it's true, the whole world has completely changed.
Yes. Yes.
And that has obviously a huge impact on how products get built, but definitely marketing too.
Yes. Yeah.
I would imagine that like everything in the book is going to be different.
Yes.
from
Well,
what
and
you wrote the first time.
This has been so helpful. So the other reason I wanted to do this is because I did want to have another project to use Cursor with, and Ghost is not meant for what I'm doing with it. So I wanted to build a custom membership site in Ghost, but really craft it and shape it to kind of what I want. And I'm having so much freaking fun doing this. It's just, it's the first version is live right now. And this is the other thing. It was like shipping before I'm ready. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. So if people go to marketingfordevelopers.com right now, they can check this out. There's some really cool shit that I built for this. Like, I'll just give you one example. Ghost has this idea of a, like kind of an account modal, which isn't awesome. It's just like basically kind of what you see when you sign up. So let me just sign up as a free person here. And for the listener at home, all I'm doing is I'm just signing up for a free thing. So I'm going to choose this free email update thing. And let me open this up here. So I wanted to build a custom membership dashboard for people, people signing up, both free folks and for paid folks. So I've just logged in, and this is what I built just the other day. So you click on this account thing. This is all custom. The normal thing you would see in Ghost is just a modal like this that's like, kind of hovers above the website. This is a custom dashboard built just for my members. I love building member dashboards. I've done this probably, 6 or 7 times in my lifetime. And it's just so fun to play around with this. This is just all Cursor. This is just me.
So like Ghost doesn't give you the ability to say like this page is protected for members with these permissions.
It does give you some of that, yes, but to really customize it, like most of the people using Ghost don't have a separate account settings page like this, where they're able to show all of the member benefits on one page. So like even if you go to like 404 Media is a big Ghost customer. And if you look at their account page, it's just a little modal. Like they're not customizing it in the same way.
Interesting. I built the the Builder Methods membership is all Rails, totally custom. And it has been interesting because and like you, like I have people who sign up for different things. So like there's people who only buy tickets to a workshop, but they don't buy a membership to Builder Methods Pro. And then there are people who do have Builder Methods Pro who are entitled to have access to the workshops.
Yeah.
and then there's like the idea of inviting team members and giving seats to team members and revoking seats. And so like when that team member is logged in, what can they and can't they access? It's been a whole thing.
Yeah. So I can't go quite that complex, but out of the box, there's a lot I can do here. So this is a free member, so they don't have access to Discord. It asks them to upgrade when they click on these. This person, even people who sign up for the free plan, get access to the original audiobook. So this is there's a Transistor Ghost integration I was telling you about that allows you to say, this private podcast, we're going to add that subscriber from Ghost to Transistor. And this is actually my custom RSS feed just for me, just as a subscriber. So I've been added to Transistor. Now look what happens if I log in as a paid person. And the reason I had to do this is because Zach Gilbert in our chat here, he signed up for a paid plan. So I already have one paid customer, Zach Gilbert. I was like, I didn't have any of this built. And so yesterday, I did a live stream.
You can always count on Zach to test your checkout flow.
So I'm like, I got to build something for Zach,
you, Zach.
I got to build something for Zach. So I built this dashboard, which is for paid members. Now he can click on the Discord community. He'll get special access to different parts of the book. I don't have anything for video training yet, but I'm going to add that. And maybe I'll do some workshops as well. So, and then, look at what he gets. He gets the Marketing for Developers private podcast members only. So not in his membership tier, he gets both.
What's your plan for that? Are you
So that there, I think what I'm going to do is do long form interviews, like with people like Lars Lofgren. I was even talking to Adam Wathan about I'd love to do a big interview with him just about how AI disrupted the marketing for Tailwind. Obviously, he's been in the news a lot the last few days in terms of that, just how much LLMs have disrupted the top of his funnel. So yeah, long form interviews.
On that, I'm about to start releasing episodes of the Builder Methods show, which is primarily going to be a YouTube show, and I've recorded 5 of them now. And I'm going to be doing a similar model to that, where it's like, and I developed a whole editing process for this. We can go into it at some point later on, but
sweet.
So the whole premise of that show is come on the show, share your screen, and show me how you build with AI and the story of how you've transitioned to start to use AI, and show me how you build stuff.
Yeah.
Had a bunch of really good guests on so far. But these end up being over an hour of pretty rambling conversations. Oh, show me that. Oh, what are you doing over there? What are we building over here? Right. And so that's kind of cool. But to produce it as a quality YouTube video, I had to set up a process to have AI analyze it and find the 3 most interesting parts and then edit those out. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is release the episode as cut down all the raw footage down to a 25-minute show.
Yeah.
With really interesting clips and me interjecting with monologue, okay, and now we're going to talk about this really cool idea, and then cut back to the interview and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that goes on YouTube, public, for free for everyone. But then I think members of Builder Methods Pro will get access to the full unedited raw interview if you want the whole backstory and all of that.
Interesting. I'm thinking about adopting a different model, which is something the Making Sense podcast has done for years, which is the public version fades out halfway through and says, if you want the rest of this conversation, you have to become a member. And then members get the full conversation. It's something I've always wanted to try. And so I'm going to try it out. And
sweet.
It might just be Zach that hears them, but I'm just loving this whole process. Just this whole thing
is great. I want a thing. Boom.
Dude. And yesterday, so here's another example. I'll stop talking in a second, but here's another example of how AI can help you make decisions and kind of work stuff out. So my original vision was, okay, I've got the original book. Why don't I just chapter by chapter rewrite it for 2026?
Yeah, this is what I want to actually ask you about.
And so I started posting the chapters here on Ghost and just seeing how that felt, right? And originally there was an indicator that said, oh, here's the original version. Here's a version I'm rewriting. And then the idea is that eventually it'd be like, oh, here's the new version of that chapter. And once I got it, like with Cursor, I was able to, build all that out and look at it and just see how it felt and actually start posting chapters and being like, how does this feel? And I eventually realized I don't think that's the right approach. I think it would be better for me to just post the original book for free online that people can read. And then to, in a separate section, just start writing new chapters. And the idea is I'm going to start writing new chapters, but you'll only be able to see the top kind of excerpt. And then the rest will only be available to members as I'm writing it. And so they'll be able to see the progress of me writing the new book. But instead of just saying, oh, here's a chapter from the old book I'm rewriting, it helped me separate those two things and go, no, the original book's going to be over here, a separate thing. And then
I think you can really play up the angle of old versus new.
Yeah.
I like the idea that you're dripping out chapter by chapter, but I think that okay, I'm just totally thinking out loud here.
Let's hear it.
But what if I just think that the most interesting kernel of information to me would be about what have you changed your mind on, or what are you seeing that's completely different now?
Yeah.
And so if as you go, once you have new chapters written, either you or AI can go through your old chapter and highlight the sections, literally highlight them and say and have some sort of bookmark on them, or a little sidebar tab, hey, you're reading this, things have changed.
Oh, that's such a great idea.
This is whatever you're this paragraph that you're reading now, the 2020, that's not true anymore in 2026. And so then maybe it's the old book is available for free to the public as the public, and maybe you could maybe use AI to reorganize this, but pull out the key points that you wrote about back in 2015 that are different now, and that's the teaser to bring you into the new chapter.
I love
in some
that.
way,
I love that idea. Yeah, you can imagine just
and also in the content of your new chapters, I would and you're really good at this in your blog posts, quote yourself from the old one.
Yes.
Back in I said this, and now here's what I think.
Yes. So kind of both, and having this kind of annotated version of the original book that points out, hey, if you're reading this, I've changed my mind on this, and you can check that out in the new book. But then,
if you ever read Stratechery?
Yes.
And he does that a lot, right? He's constantly quoting himself from previous articles.
Yeah, he's got annotated updates. Yeah, I love this idea. I love this idea. And then in the new book saying, back in 2015 I wrote, but that's all changed now. This is what's changed.
I'm curious, I know that you were talking about your motivation with getting back into the product person seat and the product launching experience, but is there any other motivation for you around do you have any big ideas for what marketing in 2026 that you really want to get out here?
I think so. I was talking about this a bit on the live stream, because people are well, start talking about some of the stuff that you're saying, some of the new things you're thinking about. And I think there's some technical things that I think people don't realize, aren't thinking about, that are going to be really helpful. That's going to include things like, here's what you can do to help seed LLMs with your content. Here's some things to watch out for. For example, like, be really careful about what you make a big splash about publicly, because if you change your mind on that, LLMs will often hold on to that for a long time. For example, when we launched Transistor, we launched it as the podcast hosting platform for businesses. And there's still lots of LLMs that categorize us that way.
And that's actually informing one of my 2026 predictions that I'm just remembering about now. Okay.
So yeah, I've got lots of technical ideas, but I think, and we can get into this when we get into the predictions. In some ways, the fundamentals haven't changed, but if there was an ocean of people building stuff trying to get noticed, what's changed in 2026 is that ocean is going to get a lot bigger. And so the challenge with asking LLMs for marketing advice and product direction advice is they are trained on the average. And when it comes to marketing and product positioning, the average equals death. If you are average, that means you are not above the high water mark for having a business that works. If your app is just average, if your idea is just average, if your marketing is just average, or put another way, if your app is just what everyone else is doing, if your marketing is just what everyone else is doing, if you're just safe across the board and kind of middle of the road across the board, now you're just in a bigger ocean with more of those people. There's going to be 1,000 other people doing the same mediocre job as you would be doing. And so it raises the bar for everything. But it also gives you opportunities, because now I think people have already noticed this. When you're scrolling and it's just like that same like tweet boy stuff on Twitter, and it's the same TikTok stuff on TikTok, and it's the same Instagram stuff, as soon as something breaks through that's like just totally unique, you really take notice. And one theme that you and I identified last year that I've been thinking a lot about is what makes people stop is real vulnerability, real humanness, real human connection. And there's even a fake version of that online that's really annoying, like this influencer, like, if you're struggling with thoughts of this, then you got to do these 5 things. It's like people are just getting allergic to that stuff.
And there's also a lot of fake like vulnerability shit, like just being like overly dramatic about stuff just because it's going to be engaging. So
a great example of this is we were just talking about this thing with Adam Wathan. Adam posted this podcast episode. I recommend everyone go and listen to it.
Yeah, I just heard it this morning.
It is called "We Had 6 Months Left," and the subheader is, "I just had to lay off some of the most talented people I've ever worked with, and it fucking sucks." This is such a good example of this. Why did this resonate? It's because a founder of a very well-known open source project that everybody uses, Tailwind CSS, decided to be raw, vulnerable, and real. And in an ocean of performative tweet boy content, everybody noticed. And
and I mean, just to really put a pin on that, it's like we and others have done the honest and build in public thing for a long time. This is what Adam has been doing with his new solo show, has been like taking it to a level that's like, because we know Adam, so we know he's not full of it.
Yeah.
Right. And also it's like it's actually some real things happening. Like it's actually interesting business stories that are playing out in real time.
Yeah.
It's not just sharing stuff about your life just to do it. It's like he has a very real challenge and a real conflict on his hands, and and he's also just being so open. I'm like, since he's been posting about it, I've been so taken aback by how transparent he's been about stuff. I've never gone to that level of transparency.
I'm almost a little sad that now that podcast blew up, because it was like, it felt like our little secret before. Like, you know, there wasn't that many people listening, and so he could be so open and transparent. And
but you know, I think he tweeted about this today. The aftermath of releasing that episode, like it actually materially changed his business.
Yeah.
You know, and that's ongoing right now. But like, you know, donations, partnerships, you know, interesting conversations. Like what I don't know what he'll make public, but like it has definitely changed things. And like, you can't, like, I don't know if there's an actual marketing takeaway from that. Like, should everyone just go scream from the rooftops and find something difficult to talk about, and that's the strategy? No, maybe not. But
I think the marketing strategy is often what people do is they'll be like, what's everybody doing on Twitter, and what's everybody doing in terms of LinkedIn strategy, and what's everybody doing in terms of their marketing website, and we just end up emulating the average of what we see out there. And my point is, I think the takeaway is, this has always been true, but it's just more true now. It's kind of like what Tyler said last year at our first episode, in our predictions episode from last year. He's like, listen, the building has never been the hard part. Mm-hmm. It's been marketing. It's been distinguishing yourself from everything else. It's been getting noticed. And that's still true. Yeah. It's just now it's even more true. Like now you've got to find. It's always going
to keep getting harder.
It's more competition. It's more fish in the sea. It's more surfers trying to catch a wave. It's just we went from a less crowded beach to a much more crowded beach.
Since we're on that topic, I mean, that is one of my points that I was thinking about as my prediction. This is no hot take. This is like the most obvious take ever. But it's what you're saying is I think what is going to actually make that harder in 2026 is, like, first of all, it's absolutely true that like distribution is still king, and it's still like if you have a distribution channel, if you have a way to be in front of your ideal customer on a repeated basis every single day, and there's a wave of them coming in every day, then you're in good shape. That's obviously extremely difficult to just develop from nothing if you don't have that distribution channel. But if you do have it, or if you have some unfair advantage or some inroad or some connection or some insight that most people don't have, that is a huge unfair advantage in 2026. But the fact that building got so much easier and more accessible, and I mean, I literally over the break I shipped like two new apps, like complete apps, right? But like even like you don't have to be a full stack developer to be able to ship stuff anymore, which means like I think people mistake this. Yes, you're going to see a lot more slop out there. You're going to see a lot more vibe-coded garbage. You're going to see a lot more stupid ideas that don't make good products.
Yeah.
But what you're also going to see are all of those people who already have the unfair distribution advantage, or already have the unfair niche industry insight of a problem that they can solve.
Yeah.
Those people are coming into the market now, and they can build their little app without spending tens of thousands of dollars on that.
Yeah.
And so they are going to come in with their distribution advantage out of the gate, you know, and then they're just going to deliver their app. Like, and we already saw that in 2025. People, you know, they have a distribution channel. They then vibe code their MVP. They get their thing to 100K MRR, and then they build it for real. You know.
This is making me think of. This is making me think of a drawing. I'm trying to think of how I could. So I'll post this in the show notes. But for folks that are watching, as you're speaking, I'm just thinking, like, imagine on the left side here, this is a software developer that could previously build and ship products. And the line for being able to do that was, let's say, up here. One thing that we haven't there's been other moments where this line got dropped, right? Like Ruby on Rails comes around. It makes it much more easy for anyone to build an app. Stripe comes along, drops the bar. This bar keeps getting lowered in terms of opening up new potential creators that could act on it. Well, AI, let's say there's a group of product people over here that have audiences, that know what an audience wants, that are very good at crafting an experience. Like they could breadboard the whole thing, but they can't build it. Well, what does LLMs make possible? Now all of these people are coming online. So instead of you used to just have to compete on this level, the first version of my book was written for these people. It was based on this Patio 11 quote, which was, listen, developers have the most incredible skill in the world, the most magical skill in the world, which is they can build things. They can imagine something and actually create it out of thin air. That's a magical ability that nobody else in the world has. Well, guess what's happened? Now there's a whole bunch more people that could potentially have this ability. It reminds me of what's happening in Africa when it comes to filmmaking and making content and making music. So before, the bar for making movies and for making music videos and for making anything was up here because you had to have a lot of money, you had to have the resources. Well, the smartphone comes to Africa and low-cost, computers come to Africa. All of a sudden, they're producing all this incredible media, full movies shot on the iPhone.
Like the talent has always been there. It's just they didn't have the tools.
It's just latent talent that's just sitting, and now it's getting activated. So this is, in some ways, I guess it depends on how you see that. If you look at that and that depresses you,
I just think that there's like a lot of developers and a lot of SaaS experts out there who are like, oh, you still need a professional SaaS team to do a quote unquote real SaaS product. Like, yes, of course, to maintain a real SaaS product with hundreds or thousands of customers, like, yeah, you do need real engineers, even if they're operating cloud code to build your thing. But you don't need that to build an MVP and ship an MVP that can get you to 10K MRR, 20K MRR in a couple of weeks because you have the connection to that market of people. Like anyone can do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that. I think what that means is, again, it's going to be harder. I have some more positive takes for 2026. We can get into them, but I think what it meant years ago was that like the bootstrapper can go find the niche industry vertical and dominate it because even the people who are connected to those industries, they can't build anything.
Yeah.
But now they can. So that's where it becomes more competitive for the people who have product chops.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. Well, let's, I want to get into predictions, but let's talk about what you built over the holidays.
All right. So,
I haven't even looked at this yet. I saw a screenshot and I was like, man, the design of this looks incredible. But yeah.
All right. Well, there's like, my stuff kind of moves so fast in terms of like the projects that I work on now that it's even hard to talk about it on a podcast. But like in terms of like the list of things that I've been obsessed about from week to week over the last 4 weeks. Let's see. I built and shipped one new tool. It's not like customers aren't buying it, but it's for me to use. It's called Inbox Summaries. I could talk about that, but what I'm more excited about right now is getting builder methods going in 2026 with a big focus on Claude Code.
Okay.
And doing like a flagship. Today I just launched the page for a course that's going to be called Build with Claude Code.
Okay. This is the site that I saw. I love these illustrations, man.
So the illustrations are a whole story. I spent a whole week. Oh man, and I'm gonna do a YouTube video on that.
Because did you use AI, some sort of AI? Yes. You did.
So
oh my gosh,
this literally took me a week of days and nights, like so many hours to get this going. So what for those listening and not like if you look at the page for Build with Claude Code or even the whole site now has these custom illustrations but they follow a brand look and feel. They are all
Yes.
very consistent. They have a very specific aesthetic. I did a little bit of a brand refresh with the fonts and colors and branding throughout the site to work with that. And it took me, I went through multiple phases. So this whole project that I'll describe took about a week, which is I started with, working with Claude to define the visual brand of Builder Methods. And that included like creating a visual world.
Yes.
Like a professional who's working in their home studio, and they have these tools and coffee and plants and there's some other like metaphorical images around there.
And by the way, this stuff doesn't look like traditional, like what I would expect from AI image generation. Like I'm even looking at this detail on the laptop. It has like a console screen kind of stylized.
So I developed it even further. Like I spent multiple days on really developing these highly detailed documents that describe, it ended up being 3 documents.
Okay.
Right? One document is called the Builder Methods Visual World. And that just describes the target customer and the type of objects and characters that you might see across this visual world, right? So that's number 1. Number 2 is the visual aesthetic. And I went through a long period of like testing out different images and different artistic styles and different line drawings versus like geometric versus modern versus painting, like whatever it might be. So went through lots of different sample images and stuff, and then kind of zeroed in on this idea of like a minimal, like hand-drawn idea with like a rough sketch look. And but even that goes into like a lot of written detail about like how thick the line should be, what level of detail, like which specific colors should be used and where and when.
Brian, this is the course I want. I want to know how you did this.
So then like the next piece of it is, how do we come up with ideas for what to illustrate, right? Mm-hmm. So the third document is like idea to idea to illustration mapping, right? And it's like, given the visual world and given the types of topics and content that I publish at Builder Methods, whenever I go into I'll tell you how I ended up executing this, but like whenever I submit like, hey, I'm doing a blog post about how to use Claude Code skills, or here's the whole transcript from this video, right? I need an illustration for it. I also don't want to be the one to direct like, all right, this needs to be a picture of a laptop with a coffee mug. I want the AI to come up with that idea for me based on what it knows about the visual world that is supposed to be the brand, right? So so it has a whole system for like taking my content and understand and pitching ideas for what the illustration should be. Okay, so then I spent multiple days trying to do an N8N automation workflow where I can just put a chat into a Slack channel and say like, I need a new illustration. Here's the blog post, or here's the video, or whatever it is. And I rigged up this whole thing. It connected to like Google Gemini and OpenAI, and connected this N8. It's a super complex N8N workflow. Spent multiple days working with Claude to get that all rigged up, and ton of conditional logic and communication back and forth. And it technically worked, but the results of the output like just did not follow those guidelines that I just talked about, right? And so I was like really like kind of pissed. Like I spent so many late nights trying to get that to work. And then I made it a Claude Code skill. I did this in like 20 minutes.
Okay.
And so I ditched the N8N complex workflow idea, and I just had Claude Code create a Claude Code skill that has those guidelines built into it.
Okay.
It wrote up a Python script that calls Google Gemini to generate the image following my guidelines. It has a couple of prompts back to me, like, all right, which color are we using for this one? What's the format? What's the context on the page where it's going to fit? It's going to pitch some illustration ideas to me. I say, let's go with option B. It illustrates option B, gives me a couple of options to choose from, and it works beautifully as a Claude Code skill. And what's really interesting as
So, wait, is this something that you're going to be able to share? Is this something that other people can replicate for themselves? Is this going to be a part of Design OS?
So what this is actually really interesting because, and I'm going to do a YouTube video on this. I think hopefully by next week.
Yeah.
This is not actually an application. It's like just Claude code alone, right? So I have a little project on my local machine, and it's basically an empty project. There's no code base in this project.
Yeah.
It's just a folder with a Claude folder, with a skills folder, with a custom skill that I called like Builder Methods Brand Illustrator.
Yes.
And so whenever I need an illustration, I just open this project and I talk to Claude Code and I say, give me an illustration for this landing page.
Yeah.
And then it creates it and puts it in a folder using that Python script. So it's a really interesting use case for Claude Code where it's like Claude Code doesn't have to help me build an app. Claude Code itself can be the app.
Yeah.
You know?
But in this case, I would pay you right now for access to that skill file so I can just plop it in and start using it.
Yeah, I mean, yes, like you could, but then your illustrations would look exactly like mine on Builder Methods.
Maybe the app is you, like maybe this is Design OS. You walk me through a process where the end result is it generates the skill file for me that then becomes, then I can start using that.
I mean, just thinking back on this project that I described, like the creation of the skill, which was created by Claude, that took like literally 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was the development of those guidelines that I spent days on.
Yes.
The brand visual world and the visual aesthetic, and there's a lot of testing out ideas and running prototypes in Google Gemini to see how it does with this idea and do I like that and is this unique and distinctive enough and I went through Dribble and found like some sample illustrations to train it on and
is that something that you can okay, so that's fascinating to me. I think
so. Anyway, like that was like a thing that I spent way too many hours on, a huge rabbit hole. But I'm actually happy with the end result. Finally,
I mean, it looks incredible. And folks listening, this will be in the show notes under Build with Claude Code.
So, but the Claude Code thing as a course, I want to talk about because this is where I feel like I changed my focus or priorities here as I head into January. I don't remember if I talked about this or not, but like back in December, my thinking as I was turning the corner was like, okay, Builder Methods is pretty much working. I've got a good thing going. I think I just need to expand my funnel, right?
Yeah.
I think I just need to keep doing YouTube videos. And now I want to cross-post my videos to LinkedIn, and I want to do more of like, maybe I'll test out some ads funnels. Maybe I'll just do more workshops and just more double down, like just keep doing the thing I'm doing, right? Mm-hmm. But as I think everyone is noticing this, I'm definitely noticing this. There is an observable change that has happened in our industry, and it happened around December, and it's coming here into January, where it's definitely an adoption bump up.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of people who used AI throughout 2025. But all of those people who were holding out, as of December, they're like, nope, I'm coming around now.
Yeah.
I'm in. Like DHH is probably the biggest known one.
Just noticed that the other day, yeah.
But like not just him. It's like everyone. It's like if you've been using AI, you leveled up to using it. If you were using AI 50 or 70% of the time, now you're using it 100% of the time.
Yeah.
If you were using AI 10% of the time, now you're using it 75% of the time. Like everyone is coming on board. And I think Opus 4.5, which dropped back in November, has a big part of that. It is an absolutely incredible model in terms of its capability. I don't think it was apparent like the day it dropped, but now that we're 2-3 months out, it's like, oh man, this thing is so good.
Yeah.
And I think that's what led to a lot of people coming around. So what that means is, like, as I sit here in January, I'm looking at Twitter every day, and I'm seeing every single person tweeting about how they are using Claude Code and how they are discovering all of these unique and special workflows with it, and how everyone is becoming an expert with it, which is fantastic. Everyone should be finding their own way to use these tools. I just think that I'm not doing a good enough job of meeting the demand wave that is really starting to kick up right now. And Builder Methods Pro, what I have in there is a good start, but it is nowhere near what it needs to be in terms of delivery of value. And Claude Code specifically as a topic, as a tool, like I have to have like the definitive. If you are interested in building with Claude Code, and the vast majority of people in our industry now are like, yes, Cursor is very popular and there's other popular tools, but
Claude Code won.
Anybody who's serious is obsessed with Claude Code right now.
Yeah,
I am. And I just think that, like, to me, I feel like I have an obligation to this business of builder methods and to the market, where it's like, I want anybody who is excited about using Claude Code, maybe a little bit new to Claude Code, or maybe they just want to have the shortcut to being a power user with it. I want them to say, like, yeah, I should really get in on Builder Methods Pro because there's a pretty solid Claude Code course in there and it's up to date.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think this is something I noticed too, is like, yes, there are people like me who are using Cursor, but most of the developers I know are using Claude Code. And there also seems to be this feeling of like Claude Code, the CLI, there's something special about how they've implemented that you don't get when you're accessing it through, something like Cursor.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of little things. I mean, I use Cursor. I use Claude Code in Cursor. Like that's my mode of it. But the more people that I talk to, and I, like, on this Builder Methods podcast I've been doing, much more people now, including myself, are not touching the code base anymore. And that's a big change. I mean, it used to be like, I used to be sort of like 50-50, I would go into the IDE, I would edit some files. Most of the time I'd have Claude Code build stuff, but now it's like 100%. Like, every little change, where it's like the decline of the IDE. There's a lot of people now, and these are full stack developers who have hand coded stuff for years. They are actually ditching the code editor and just building in like iTerm or their terminal, whatever it is,
Yeah. I think this is also, it's such a great time for it, because people do have these questions. Like, they might have heard even about, like, you got to get yourself a Claude plan, and you got to put that in your root directory. And I think if someone had heard about that and had done that 6 months ago, they're now coming back in 2026 and they're going, okay, I haven't really used Claude Code. I know I got to. Is that old stuff I know? Is that still true? Like, I'm looking at this.
It's a big challenge, honestly. And there's a lot of, there is a lot of features, or there's like probably four or five features, core features in Claude Code that have a ton of overlap with each other. Like subagents or skills or the Claude MD file or / commands. Like, when should you use this versus that? And that's a hard question, because like a lot of them can do more or less the same thing with some trade-offs.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that,
dude.
And then sort of on the same subject, and I recorded the video, the YouTube video for this next thing, which is coming out next week. And this part feels a little bit risky to me, but I feel like I have to do it. I have no choice, which is, and I'm seeing this already out there. There's a sentiment, and there is that the frameworks, the third-party frameworks, like Agent OS, and like the many others that are just like it, they are less relevant and overkill and probably not useful in 2026. And I have updates come into Agent OS that will make it more lightweight and useful in certain in the ways that people are using it. But I have a big video coming out that the headline is like Claude Code in 2026 is all you need. Just pure vanilla Claude Code.
Yeah.
And before
By the way,
you
people
go,
love that content in the same way that you were like, man, it'd be great to hear what you changed your mind on in terms of marketing and developers. That's a great one. Like, hey, I know this was just 2025, but I've changed my mind on this. Is
not
pretty
only have
powerful.
I changed my mind, I feel like this is where I feel it's a little bit risky to do that. But I've been feeling like discomfort in like having and maintaining and supporting Agent OS. I get new people coming into the Discord every day. They're excited about using it. But I'm like, yeah, I don't really use it that much anymore because I just use plan mode. Or, so, but this gets a little bit to like sort of what Adam was saying. Obviously, his is a totally different situation, but a lot of my traffic on builder methods is accessing the docs for Agent OS. A lot of people joining Builder Methods Pro, they're coming because they want to have direct support from the guy who created Agent OS. So I am trying to actively pivot to, I don't want Builder Methods to be built around Agent OS specifically as a product because I don't think it has legs long term. I'd rather, and the whole idea for Builder Methods is to be the place to get training and the place to have community with other builders. I have to sort of like plant my flag and just be totally honest and authentic. Like this stuff is moving fast, and I have one of the popular frameworks out there, but I'll be the first to say like you don't really need a framework for most things these days.
I'm just looking at. I just looked up builder methods in Ahrefs, and Agent OS is a big keyword for sure. But there's still opportunity there, and to be able to recognize it is, there. I think the other thing is that there are people on the cutting edge. You are on the cutting edge. You have had this realization that stuff like Agent OS is now yesterday's news. However, there's still so many people catching up. Like they're still on chapter 1 and you're on chapter 10 and they're just reading chapter 2, chapter 3. So the traffic may kind of slowly decrease, but the emotion or the desire behind that traffic is still there, which is, how do I get my project set up properly? Can somebody help me with that? And sounds like this is where the course is going to fit in.
Exactly. And I think that's part of the motivation for doing the course is that like if somebody is coming to Claude Code as a new person, it is very easy to be overwhelmed with like, oh, if I'm new to building with AI, or maybe you're not new to building, but you're new to using Claude Code, it's easy to come into this and think like, oh, there's this whole ecosystem of these frameworks, of these Agent OSs and these other things that have all these like swipe files of sub agents and commands that I like, oh, this person is listing a list of 100 commands. Do I need to copy those into my project? What do I do with those? What do they all do? And it's easy to be like so overwhelmed with all that extra bloat. But my advice to those people is like, just ignore all that noise. Ignore Agent OS. Just learn the core workflow, which is spec-driven development, and you can do most of that with Claude Code. And like, what's amazing is that like, I built and released the first version of Agent OS back in like June of 2025, which essentially created specs, which are like plans. It had the agent interview you to make those specs, like clarifying questions. It broke the spec out into to-do lists and then delegated to sub-agents. And like all of those things turned into Claude Code features. They have plan mode. They have ask user questions. They have to-do lists. Like it does those things out of the box. You are generally better off doing. And I firmly believe spec-driven development is the way to. I'm constantly doing plan mode. But and like there are little unique aspects about Agent OS that I have an update coming to it, like the ability to manage profiles. So if your team is working on different projects and you have different project knowledge that you need to sort of pass around and change from project to project, it's really good at that, and like injecting those standards into your agents, into your prompts, into your Claude MD. So there's going to be some tooling, especially for teams, and I think that the other thing that Agent OS helps with still is like making sense of legacy code bases and documenting the legacy code base knowledge into these standards.
Yeah.
That's where Agent OS is actually very helpful, and I think a lot of the people using it are, they use it for that sort of thing. But designing and building like greenfield, like new product stuff, like that's where, like, yeah, Design OS probably helps with the design side of that, but the most of the builds can happen in pure cloud code.
See,
in my
this
opinion.
is why I think this is perfect. I think this is a great fit for your overall offering. And when you think about it, with it moving so fast, the real benefit of Builder Methods Pro is I'm connected to Brian and Brian's on top of it. Like, I'm going to be able to catch up because Brian's going to be able to say, hey, listen, just ignore everything you've heard for the past 6 months. I can save you all that pain. Just like, let me teach you the basics right now. And I noticed that the call to action is this Claude Code course is included in your Builder Methods Pro membership. So this is just another reason to join. And
I just remembered that, like, I pushed that page live today, but I forgot to write the coming soon label on it. Oh. So, I should probably do that because I didn't create any of the course content yet.
That's the problem. That's the problem with shipping so fast, is that we're oh, dude. Well, that's great. I think we were going to get into some predictions for 2026. I'm kind of feeling like we should, because we've already gone an hour. I think we should save it. Do you think we should save it, or do you think we should just do it?
I think we should, if you have time. I mean, I think we should hit a couple of them.
Okay.
Because next week I think we're going to have a guest.
Oh yeah, next week. Okay. So
yeah.
Let's
like what's on the top of your mind? Anything?
Well, the big thing I want to, I think I kind of communicated that the big one for me is just that one thing that's going to happen in 2026, and it's already happening, is just, like I said, that ocean of people that are trying to do what you're doing is about to get a lot bigger. There's going to be a lot more competition, and standing out is going to be key. And the question is whether you can teach people to stand out. And I think you can. And the one example I want to point to is the Acquired podcast just had their 10-year anniversary. And they somehow got Michael Lewis, the author of Moneyball, to interview them for their 10-year anniversary episode.
Oh, I got to hear that.
It is fantastic. But what emerges is the story of two guys from Seattle who, in a wave, in an ocean of content, there's tons of people publishing content on YouTube and tons of people publishing content on podcasts. They started 10 years ago making kind of mediocre content. Like, you can go back and listen to episode 1. They were doing maybe, 5 to 6 episodes a month or something, like lots of episodes, trying to do what everyone else was doing, trying to get traditional advertisers like Casper mattresses and all that stuff. And then in 2022, they tell this story about how the advertising market crashed. David had just gone full-time on the podcast, and they lost 40% of their revenue. This isn't that long ago. This is like 4 years ago. And they kind of decided to kind of pull back and go, okay, what's going on here? And everybody else's response was to get more competitive. They're like, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. We got to just publish more episodes, get more impressions so we can get more, advertisers. And their answer was like, you know what? No, we're going to figure out what we are uniquely good at and how we can produce something that is an N of one. Nobody else is going to be able to do this. And that was the turning point. That's when we
so
start
hard and
getting
so smart.
their episodes on the NFL, Costco, where they were taking a whole month to research and do all of this stuff. And then they produce 1 3-hour episode at the end of the month. This is the start of that strategy. And then they also talk about how they changed their monetization strategy from what the whole other industry is doing, which is CPMs, right? You get paid $25 per 1,000 downloads. And they said, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to go back to our best sponsors and get them to adopt this new model, which, by the way, is on their website. If you click on their website, you can see what they're charging for this coming season. And a feature sponsorship, I think, a presenting sponsorship for the next season, 2027. They're already sold out for 2026. For the 2027 spring season, presenting sponsorship is $2.75 million. That's what it costs to sponsor 4 episodes of
4 episodes?
4 episodes. Because the other thing they've done is gradually decrease how many episodes in the season. A mid-roll ad is 1.9 million, basically. So,
whoa, holy crap! I did not realize they were doing that kind of number. Like, I knew they were huge, but like, and this is, oh man, and this is like right into one of my predictions as well.
Okay,
that's incredible.
Yeah, so I think this is the story. This is the message I'm going to be talking about in marketing for developers. Is humans are pack animals. Like, we're always like trying to replicate what other people doing, and at the beginning,
find what's different.
Like you can emulate somebody to learn. But the difference between people that really pull away from the pack are those that get past that emulation stage and start to identify ways that they can be an N of one. What can we uniquely do? What are we going to bring? And it doesn't always work. That was a bet that might not have worked out for them. But it's the folks that make those kinds of bets are typically the ones who end up having some sort of success.
Man, and that is so... I want to talk about the media in 2026, but on that thing about finding your unique advantage and your unique mode and being different, like this is what is really stressing me out about social media and Twitter right now. I didn't used to get as stressed about it as like probably like you have and other people have in the past year or two.
Yeah.
But for me now, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's part of like doing this builder methods business, which I'm now in this, like, now I'm like an educator and I'm a communicator, right? So, but I feel like I'm not very good as a Twitter person. I just don't have as much success on, I enjoy Twitter as to connect with friends and to follow people and to tweak snarky things whenever I want to, like whatever's on my mind. But I'm not good at, and I don't mean like the tweet boy thing, but just being like more active and more like I don't tweet very much about Claude Code or about AI strategies or this or that. Like, yeah, I mention it sometimes, but like I don't. If you look at my feed right now, I don't have any. There's nothing strategic out there. There's probably not a lot that's like super valuable. What I do is YouTube videos. Like that's where I'm connecting with my actual audience, and that's working for me, and I'm doing that. So I feel this like pressure of like, do I need to change my Twitter game? Do I need to build systems to help me tweet more faster? Like, because am I going to be like, and there's like this feeling of like maybe I'm feeling threatened by other people being the experts on Twitter when like I'm the one trying to sell a Claude Code course. Like, yeah. But then I try to remind myself like, well, maybe Twitter is just not my mode. Like, that doesn't have to be me. I could just use Twitter how I always have and just stick to YouTube. Yes. I don't know.
I think this is like knowing yourself is going to be another kind of big one, because clearly some people. I mean, you can learn skills, but this is something that Lars Lofgren and I have talked about forever, because. Someone would ask us, like, what makes a great marketer? Like, what are the attributes of a great marketer? And he would say, well, it really depends. Like, look at Justin. He's a completely different marketer than I am, but he's been successful with his mix of strengths and weaknesses. and he employs them very differently than I do. And I think that is the point, is like, where, again, this is the N of one. Where can I win where other people can't? And, some people like Adam Wathan, he just saw Twitter and he was just like, I can do this. Like, this is, and then he taught it to Steve Shoger, and it worked for Steve as well. Some people just have an affinity for certain things, and that's fine. The key is to go.
I think it's that like short form and short form text thing that I just can't. No matter how much I try to have Claude Code write tweets for me, I can't do it. I much more resonate with like Rand Fishkin and his style going back many years of like doing like the whiteboard Fridays and like I really like, in terms of content creation, that idea of spending a week just going deep on a topic and like editing and making sure what I'm saying like really hits the right tone, and I make the right points, and I frame it the right way, and then finally like release the video for this thing that I worked on for a week or multiple weeks, rather than like the spur of the moment tweet. Like, I just can't be valuable in that mode,
Yeah. Although this does bring up another prediction for me, which is, I think partnerships are going to become way more important 2026 and beyond, because if before it was like an individual. So yes, in some ways, being an individual contributor now with Claude Code makes you so much more magical. But it's unlocking those things that you don't have individually that might make the difference to rise above the noise. Like Adam Wathan, Steve Shoger. That's an example of a co-founder, but there's other examples of just not necessarily making someone a co-founder, but partnering up with them. So in your case, maybe there's someone great on Twitter and you're just like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll make them an affiliate, or maybe there's some way to partner that will help me activate that channel or that mode that I can't get into.
That is a really good one. I just, they're not new as a customer and a partner, but like they started promoting Clarity, they're working with this partnership thing, and they have really done a pretty good job of bringing a new wave of customers into Clarity Flow. So that's been pretty good. I got a couple of points here that are, more tech world culture.
Okay, I want to hear them. Oh, I might have responses to these. I haven't heard these. Okay, let's go.
Well, one sort of picks up on where you left off with talking about the acquired thing and just in general, and then talking about those numbers that they're doing. And this one is probably pretty obvious, but I just think that what people call the new media, so podcasts and YouTube and stuff, will just become the media in 2026.
Yeah.
The traditional media, the big news organizations, television, newspapers, unfortunately, like true traditional journalism, that'll be around, but like I think it's already becoming pretty irrelevant, and we obviously saw that in the last U.S. election. I mean, literally, Trump went on Rogan and Kamala Harris did not, and I actually, my view is like that is like one, not just that one podcast, but in general, just embracing of the new media, and then you just look at the sheer numbers of these. I mean, compare even just Acquired podcast or any of these podcasts; they are doing millions upon millions of views and subscribers, and compared to like NBC News, like they might do like 1 million on their biggest night. like they're not touching the numbers that YouTubers are and the major podcasters are doing. I mean, the downside of this is that there's going to be a ton more people doing terrible journalism. The upside is that there are like independent publications doing great journalism. And I mean, this is one of the reasons that Transistor was excited to do this partnership with Ghost, is that Ghost just released this explorer.ghost page. And we noticed a bunch of our customers on this page. And a lot of these folks are doing incredible journalism. Like 404 Media is doing
great journalism. The Lever is doing great journalism. Tangle, which I'm a subscriber to, 637,000 subscribers. Like, that's a massive email list. It's still indie, but great journalism. And
I think especially for like world news and like war and stuff like that, like you that's where I personally like rely on, big, well-funded news organizations, like people who can literally have a journalist on the ground in a war zone. You're not going to see a podcaster there,
Yeah.
And so I think there's always a value for that, but I just think that like absolutely in any next elections, like it's going to be about the YouTube and podcast game, and so much less about the televised stuff
for better and for worse.
And I don't think it's just politics. I think it's across the board. Like, I'm a big sports fan, and even like there's a general, like I watch a bunch of ESPN, but like that's sort of not the best place to tune into sports anymore. It's the independent takes on both local and national. And then it's like, well, who's actually independent? Like, is The Ringer independent? They were bought by Spotify.
Yeah.
But like it still has that like new media vibe,
Yeah. I think there'll probably be an interplay between those. Like, there will be fewer kind of bigger institutional media organizations. And
like tech too, like Bloomberg will cover tech, will cover like the latest iPhone, and like that guy Gurman always gets these scoops, but like John Gruber, Ben Thompson, what's his name, Marcus, like the massive YouTuber guy, MK. I always forget his name.
MGBK.
Yeah, it's like, like stuff like that. Like that's where I go to stay up on tech.
Yeah. We're gonna get. How come I can't think of his name?
I got a couple more. I'll throw at you.
Yeah.
Here.
Keep going.
All right. We talked a bunch about AI. We can get back to that later. Actually, all three of the things are AI. All right. One of them is OpenAI and ChatGPT is going to fade away in terms of quote unquote being in the leadership position. Maybe it's not even that anymore, but like people, normies, and everyone still thinks of like ChatGPT as a massive player. Like the massive players obviously are like ChatGPT, Anthropic, Google.
Yeah.
And then everything else is like, Grok, but that's still like a far fourth place. It's really those three: Google, Anthropic, and ChatGPT. And so, again, this is not a super hot take, but I think that OpenAI is going to not totally figure out they're still trying to figure out their business. They're popular, but they have not figured out their winning strategy.
Yeah.
Yet. I don't think that they're going to figure it out in 2026. Now, they have billions upon billions of funding, so they're not going to just go away. But I do think that Google will win the consumer, and Anthropic, I think, has already won business.
Yeah, this is going to be so interesting. Like, on the consumer side, ChatGPT is the brand. It feels like the Google of LLMs. But it'll be interesting because I have noticed myself more just asking those kinds of questions in Google search and just getting their AI answer Google. And then chatting with that AI answer.
Every normie in my life, I say, like, how are you using AI today? And they say, like, well, when I Google something, Google gives me AI.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
I hear that answer all the time.
Interesting.
They don't even call it Gemini. They're just like, I don't know, whatever Google tells me. I guess that's AI.
Yeah. The surprising thing, I mean, the bull case for ChatGPT and the bear case for Google is that Google is not great at software. So even like I'm thinking about one of the benefits of ChatGPT is it starts to learn about you. You have all your chats in there. You might,
Yeah, as like a product, Google
you
is
might
not very
like the one
great.
thing I do all the time. I don't know if other people do this, but I'll find a recipe in ChatGPT that I like, and I'll just keep going back to my chats, searching for chicken, and then it pulls up
yeah.
all the chicken recipes. And Google doesn't have, like, when I'm chatting in Google search, it doesn't have that feel of like, oh, it's learning about me, and I can go back to these, and I have projects and
That is the thing. Like as a consumer, like in my personal life, I still use ChatGPT for all my life stuff. So like health questions and it is my replacement for Google search a lot of the times. And give me a funny joke to tell my kids. Like I go to ChatGPT for that stuff.
yeah.
But like Google, see, like I think the challenge for Google is they're not very good at product. Mm-hmm. Like Google has Gemini. Like they have. Like if you log into Gemini, that is a ChatGPT competitor, so you could get all the same things. It's just like hard to find Gemini. Like where do I log in to go to it? And then like Google has like all these, like I did a tweet about this. Like it's like they literally have like 15 different AI products.
Yes.
Like there's like Nano Banana, there's Image Gen, there's VO, there's
And
like,
dude, if you search for Nano Banana, like if you're like, I want to use Nano Banana, the top search results are not Google's Nano Banana project. It's other people using Nano Banana.
It's insane, dude.
It's
and like
terrible.
Like just like I was talking about that illustration project I did for Builder Brothers. Like it took me literally like a while just to figure out like, all right, how do I just get the best image generation model? What is it called? Where is it? Where do I go? Like what do I sign up for? Like it's hard to find it. But like still, I think that like OpenAI is just they're flailing. Like the Sora thing, like I was totally wrong about that. Like I thought that was going to take off. That completely faded away pretty quickly. I don't know. And Anthropic, I think, is definitely already winning the business side of things. That absolutely won the coders.
The consumer side is interesting too, because so much of it is dependent on product and how you access it. Like I was in a Model Y recently, and there's the new, I think just in the newer models, Grok is built in.
Yeah, we have Grok in our car, yeah.
And I can't believe, I was surprised at how much we used it. It was just like, hey, Grok, like what's, tell us about this. You're in a drive and you're just talking to Grok the whole time. And in terms of a product, I was like, man, that is incredible. And then I looked up to see if there was a Apple CarPlay, a similar thing. And there's not really. And it's
Apple
like
is completely lost.
And it's like, man, like, but that's also going to affect, like if ChatGPT had an incredible CarPlay app that I could talk to while I'm driving.
Okay, so this is my next prediction.
Okay.
We rolled right into it. This is, I do think that AI adoption by normies is still going to be slow. I don't know when it will have that tipping point where like everyone, our parents, our friends and family, our non-tech friends and stuff, like they are just not using AI yet in any real big way. Like maybe they use it a little bit at work if their work has some AI thing, but most workplaces still don't, honestly, unless you're really in tech. Like I ask my kids all the time, like, is anybody in your school using AI for anything or even talking about it? And the answer is no. Like they're just not.
Interesting.
So I think that AI adoption at large for the normies is really going to depend on when there is a huge product that comes along that becomes the next, like there needs to be the next iPhone scale. When the iPhone came out, it literally changed the world.
I mean, I was just
2007 was the year that it came out. The world changed because everyone got an iPhone.
But this seems like the opportunity. So if Apple's dropping the ball when it comes to, especially like voice and AI, like if I could go, talk to Apple's voice agent and say, hey, like, tell me about this, and it could give it to me easily without having to set up anything else or whatever, that would be a big advantage. But they don't have that. What is there?
I just think that there needs to be. It's even more than a smartphone, and it's also more than just chat, because like there is already ChatGPT and there's already Gemini on all the Android phones. So that hasn't broken through. People dabble with it.
Yes.
You know, it's
got to be built in though. Like what?
So like I think there needs to be a totally new paradigm that takes over the world, right? And I wrote down like humanoid robots, but we were just talking about cars. I think that's the other one. It's like once cars in a really widespread way have AI that people are finding genuinely useful. But I also think that like robotics too could do this. I don't think this is going to be in 2026, but like these are the kinds of things where it's like, oh, this is entering our lives. Yeah. In a way that's like it just replaces things. Well, I don't know, like I don't know specifics. I just think like something like that. Yes. It's going to take something like that because like as of today, like yeah, I use regular Claude and regular ChatGPT to like as a thought partner to think through my projects and stuff like that. But the normal people are not doing that yet.
So Ryan in chat just brought up the thing I wanted to talk about, which is Johnny Ive is working with OpenAI. There are other tectonic plates moving right now, which is this iPhone is stressing people out more than it ever has before. Like people are saying this has disrupted society.
Awesome. I thought you were holding up a VHS
tape.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I got my case as a VHS tape. But, you know, people are stressed out about this. Like my son was even just like, man, he's like, I wish I could just install Linux on my phone so I could get rid of YouTube Shorts in the YouTube app. Because is there a world where Johnny Ive creates some beautiful device that is in the same category as an iPhone, but maybe the
he likes to talk about how he's going to like correct his he's going to create the anti-iPhone.
Well, and people are stressed out about the iPhone, but imagine, I mean, people are stressed out about AI too, so maybe this won't work, but imagine a phone that's just continually rewriting itself to go with your preferences. So you'd be like, hey, OpenAI phone, I want you to rewrite the YouTube app, and I don't want to see any shorts ever. I want you to just eliminate that. And I want you to create a calendar app that does all of this. And
but you Justin, you are already thinking so many steps ahead of the average person. You're thinking as a software product person. Like most people just take the software that they're given. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
They're just gonna be like, oh, that's how YouTube works. Nothing I can do about that. Even if there are things I could do about that, they're not gonna think through like a better interface, you know?
But this is where, again, what's interesting is just it feels like stress levels on the phone have really risen. Like I gave everybody in my family that brick where you can brick your phone, it's like a physical device. And it's interesting because I gave it to everybody and they're all like, what is this? And I'm like, well, you know, if you find your phone distracting and you're always checking it, you can brick things. And instantly you could see the light go on. We'll see if they end up doing it. But they're like, oh, yeah, my phone is like ruining my life in terms of my attention, in terms of everything. So maybe there's a world where I wouldn't count OpenAI out just because this is how I see it. I see you got OpenAI has a lot of consumer recognition. You got Google, who also has a big consumer footprint, but they're shitty at product. They're just so terrible at it. Then you've got Claude, which is mostly for developers. And then you've got Grok, which I think is interesting in that it's actually the best voice experience I've ever had, which was in the Tesla. I just couldn't believe how often we were using it. It was just like, oh, hey Grok, hey this. So
the thing with Grok is that I think you're right, but like the problem is that it's Elon Musk.
Yes.
At this point. And he really, I don't know what happened to him over the last couple of years, but he completely became crazy.
I mean,
and it has like obviously like a clear impact on Tesla's sales. So like even if Tesla comes out with the robots that they're working on, and even if they're fantastic, people are just not going to buy them because it's Elon.
Yeah,
you know.
Okay, let's. Do you got any more? Let's finish them out while we got them.
I think one more on here, but I had one additional thought to think through.
Okay.
Well, just my other one was just like that, like AI in music and TV will not be a thing.
Okay.
and it won't be significant.
I think it will actually. I think we're going to see there's a big uproar over commercials made with AI. And, I think Coca-Cola.
I could see it being in commercials.
Yeah.
But I just mean like the best music albums that people really love and resonate with. And probably the same with like the best films. And I'm sure there will be some TV shows that are AI generated, but like I think the best of the best ones will still be human written.
The only difference with music is I can see all background music and like kind of vibe music and like easy listening, that I think there's a world
that whole industry is kind of screwed.
Yeah, I think that one is like, I even want that right now. Like I used to go to SoundCloud for that, for like these kind of like background, like electronic, like just, but if there was an AI that could just produce that music for me automatically, depending on what I'm doing on my computer and automatically adjust it for me, I think I would probably just use that. But
I mean, I personally think the most about music. I write music, I create it, I like to record it, but also I'm a huge fan of bands, and I'm a fan of the best songwriters, and I'm also a fan of going to see bands live. Mm-hmm. And there's the live experience, and when I love a song or an album,
yeah.
I also want to experience the live version of that, which is different than the studio version.
Totally agree.
So that is completely human.
Totally agree. Totally agree. I think for that kind of music, again, we're talking about how do you rise above the noise. It's going to be the same for musicians and art, frankly. And one of the ways you rise above the noise is you give them an experience. And it's just going to be more true of what was already true, right? Like the best bands already knew this. It's like we give our fans an experience when they come to see us. We create albums that are creative and interesting and unexpected. They're not mediocre or average. My
last one is not a prediction. It's more of a question.
Okay.
I was just thinking about this today because I'm thinking back on the year of 2025 and this transition, this transition in adoption.
Yeah.
And we have seen a massive shift. I like, obviously I keep talking about it with what I'm doing with builder methods. Mm-hmm. So like, this is like coming back to our industry, the tech, the coders, the builders, right?
Yeah.
But I want to extrapolate that out to the rest of the world, right? So if I think about myself, the way that I build software is 110% different today than it was 12 months ago. Mm-hmm. Like everything about it, every step in the process is different.
Yeah.
And I if I go back to January of 2025, I probably would have been skeptical of the idea that like I would build an entire app and not hand code a single line in that app.
Yeah.
Like I would have been skeptical of that statement 12 months ago.
Yeah.
And that is just absolute reality today. Like I definitely shipped complete apps without touching a line of code. Mm-hmm. So if there was that much of a shift, and I mean that means so many things. That means not only the models got a lot better, the tooling got a lot better, but also my personal trust.
Yeah.
I've changed my behavior to like in a way that is super significant, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of jump are we going to see in the next 12 months like that? That's the question is like, what can we not even fathom would be true 12 months from now, where 12 months from now, we're going to be like, oh yeah.
What are we not seeing 100%. Now that will be clear in retrospect?
And like, I think it'll even go beyond just coding and stuff. That's where it could bleed into like the normie stuff. So like, I still think that like as much as we got into like agents in general, like how you can have an agent go off and do a task that's like pretty beefy.
Yeah.
I still feel like we haven't even scratched the surface on that.
Yeah.
Like right now I have a list of like 10 shiny object app ideas that I want to build. And I know that like really all I actually need is like a full day and I can build it with Cloud Code and stuff. But I think that like we're going to be at a time like pretty soon where like literally just jotting down the note or voice noting the note could be enough to kick off agents to plan and design and build and deploy and test and like, here you go, here's that app. What do you think? Like we still have to, right now, we still have to like manage the process a little bit, you know? I don't know if there's like other things like that.
I think this is actually going to become the problem, which is the kind of bountiful version of the future is that there's going to be so much more code being written and so many more people are going to be like more software will mean more people need to be employed to manage those projects and those companies and those customer support. And it's just going to all increase exponentially and it's going to benefit everybody. And the thing I'm seeing is just like, this feels like already it's the same problem. It's the same build 100 projects in a year problem, which is I built 100 projects, but 75 of them have 404s. 67 of them have errors. 89 of them don't have their tax details updated on Stripe. Like the problem becomes more.
Yeah.
And
I do think that the simpler tools, and this, you know, we're sort of circling back to like our software world here, but like the simpler tools, like even now, like when I have a little need for something, I am very much thinking about like, well, do I just vibe code that, or or am I going to go trial like 3 different project management tools to see which one sort of kind of fits what I want to do?
I mean, we just had to make this decision at Transistor, and it's a very normie decision. So we are a team of 6 people, but we just need to be able to track when people are taking time off. So there needs to be a calendar updated. There needs to be some form of approval, like, hey, I'm going to be here. Is that okay? And either John or I have to say, yeah, that sounds fine. And we could have vibe coded that. Like our old system was a Google form that submitted a thing, and then I would manually update a calendar. And I said to Helen, I'm like, maybe we should, you know, we could vibe code this, or we could go and buy and we ended up just buying vacationtracker.io or whatever. And it wasn't cheap. It was like $500 a year or something like that. And,
right.
But in my mind, I'm like, the effort and time, and then someone's going to maintain it. And then, you know, I was just like, let's just buy it. If somebody's already done it.
Okay. So that's what I'm talking about, right? Like I totally understand where you're coming from. Like, yeah, like somebody still has to, even vibe coding it, there's still a lot of effort in testing it and troubleshooting it. I get that.
Yeah.
But 12 months ago, I would have said you're crazy that I would build a whole app and not touch the code.
Yeah.
12 months from now, I think that management layer starts to fall away.
I think there's still going to be so many after effects of like, so, you know, so let's say
Opus 4.5 is so good now.
I know for building, but not for maintaining. And
but 12 months from now, it's going to be Opus 5.5. We don't know what that's going to be. It's going to be insane.
It's still going to, I mean, you could be right. You could be right. And we should definitely revisit this in 2027. You could be right. There is a world where you're right. What I'm seeing practically, though, is, and Transistor's a small company, but we already have this. It's like, you know, I built a few like free marketing tools in V0, and Josh built a few over here, and then we got a few over there. And just like we had a weird, you know, SSL certificate stuff happens all the time. So it's like for some reason there was a conflict, and Let's Encrypt didn't manually renew it, and so one of the
like little stuff like that, especially server level deployment stuff. That's still, for me, it's still very manual. Like that AI hasn't really touched that.
Yes,
stuff
and
in a big way.
Even
you know?
like let's say that it can even manage that, but the thing I could see happen even with a small team, but this gets worse with a bigger team. let's say Helen Vibe codes a vacation tracker system and it works awesome. She goes on vacation for 3 weeks and the system goes down. And we're like, okay, where was that hosted again? Oh, shoot. She put it on her own DigitalOcean droplet and she forgot to share the password. Fuck. Okay. Like it only takes
I guess I have to have Cloud Code go hack into Helen's account.
It only takes that to happen a few times where the boss goes, okay, like we're going to have a line. Like, so the line used to be, if you're going to build something internally, it was way up here. It had to be pretty important.
Yeah.
It's definitely lowered, but there are still going to be managers and leaders and bosses and on teams that are like, yes, you could build that, but I'm tired of these things breaking down. I'm tired of them, having security vulnerabilities. I'm tired of you running it on some Raspberry Pi underneath your desk. Like, I just want, this is the line now. And it's definitely lowered, but it's not on the floor. You know what I mean? Like people are still buying vacationtracker.io or whatever. And
yeah. I'm going to throw one more at you. And this one could be like more of a cliffhanger for maybe next week, especially given the guest that will probably join us next week.
Okay.
And I just was thinking about this today. I think it's probably true. I'm curious to know your take. Strapping, self-funding will have a resurgence. Not that it's been dead, but it's just going to become way more of the widespread norm for most startups in 2026. And I think that probably means that like the decline of funding in general, funding models in general. I guess there will still be like the big VC stuff. I know that like some of the like Tiny Seed and like the smaller seed level funds still exist. But it's hard for me just to think practically about like what is the role? Why would somebody seek funding when building is so easy now? Like
I think you're right. Even the venture capitalists like Mark Andreessen are talking about this right now. They're talking, they're talking about like there will be bootstrapped solo founder $1 billion businesses now because of AI. So if they're saying it, now they're still going to make their money because they've just moved up the food chain. They're just all investing in AI companies that are going to drive it all. But it will.
Or maybe I could even see still see the case for the super small fund to allow a bootstrapper to quit their job and like just fund the founder, maybe the founders.
Yeah.
Right. But you just don't need funding to hire a significant team anymore. Like startups, no matter what level you are of funding, like in 2026, the way to build startups is to use AI as much as you possibly can.
And it just changes so much in terms of like, because you can build so much faster for good and bad, it means you can get paying customers sooner. And I think people will be able to realize right away, does this thing have legs or does this not have legs? In the past, you would have been like, we don't really know yet. We need more money so we can build more and all that. But now you're just gonna be like I'll just build the first version of it. And if that vision is attractive enough that people sign up, all right, then I can literally get their feedback and the next day have something new for them and keep going and see if that brings in enough customers. The part where people usually would get funding is like there's a gap between here and here. But if you can get there faster.
And there's a lot of people who traditionally like just defaulted to funding. Like, oh, I want to build a startup, so I guess I need to do funding. Like there's a lot of people who just totally either weren't aware or just didn't even really consider the idea of self-funding.
Yeah.
But I do think that we're going to enter a phase where it's like that self-funding becomes the default.
Yeah. And, I think Ryan, though, has a good point, which is funders will probably, startups will need funding for marketing.
That's the other thing I was thinking about. But like that's also like only if you want to go in and try to dominate a market.
Yeah.
Like if you have to go into a market and try to compete with obviously everyone's competing with the big guys to a certain extent, but if you want to take down the big guys, you need to be blanketing ads everywhere.
I do think that especially Meta is going to have a blockbuster year. I think there are going to be way more people building apps, and where are they going to advertise those apps? They're going to advertise them in Instagram stories. I think that is going to be, and that's where, if there's an angle for funding small independent startups, my guess is a lot of that will be like, okay, yeah, you've built a product fast, but you need to get distribution. We need to be able to try a bunch of channels and just invest money in channels until we find one that works. And that will be the arbitrage, is like whoever gets to the distribution channel first and owns that channel, they're the ones that are going to win. And yeah.
It all comes back to marketing.
This is great. Really epic episode. 1 hour and 50 minutes. People have been sticking around in live chat for the whole time. Shout out to everybody in the chat. This was really fun. And
good kickoff for 2026.
That's right. Join us next week. I think we're going to have a special guest. So we're staying true to the panel format.
Yes, we'll still call it the panel. But this was a good one.
Yeah, dude.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
I'll see you guys next week.
Talk to you later. Bye.